So I'm going to have you all get started on your backs. I'm going to stay seated as I share a reading with you. And as you kind of allow your backs to get settled, notice just what needs support. Really just kind of checking in with your body and noticing if you need anything to really kind of help you drop in. Let go of a distraction that the body may be creating, something that's uncomfortable or feeling tension or pain. You don't want that. Once you make yourself comfortable, notice where you'd like to rest your arms. Some of you like to open them wide, palms up. Sometimes it feels nice to place the palms on the belly. That can be soothing, comforting, or for some of you, I've noticed, you've told me it's just more comfortable on the shoulder. So just notice what brings comfort. You don't have to analyze it. And really what I'm inviting you to do is to really drop into listening to your body today and how things feel from the sense of the body as opposed to our heads. Okay. I already can see where I'm going to add more lighting now that I've done blackout curtains. Okay. Softly close the eyes and take a moment to observe your body breathing. Just invite yourself to relax into the present moment. You might experience the belly rising and falling. Or simply check in with any areas of the body that could relax a little bit more. We quite unconsciously tense certain areas. So you might check in with the facial muscles or your fingers or toes. So we're inviting the body into some ease. Ease of breath, feeling the support beneath you, dropping into the ease of that support. And then I'm going to ask you to check in with the body and the sensations in the body as I share a reading with you by Dana Falls. It's called Yoga. And my invitation to you today is to take this reading into your practice and allow it to guide you and to continue to use it as kind of a guiding light into the choices you make and how this practice serves you today. Yoga is not about the pose. It's not the alignment of toes or hips or shoulders. It's not about the form. Yoga is an invitation to explore, not a command for performance. It speaks the language of the soul. In the flow of breath and motion, yoga coaxes us from the confines of the known across the silent threshold into vastness. Yoga is the union of prayer and movement guided from the inside. It is healing and the joy of saying yes to life. Breathe, relax, and feel the body receive its own truth. The seed of freedom flowers within each of us whenever we are open to what's real. So opening to what's real for you today on your mat. Opening up to your truth, opening up to this practice and how it can serve you, and doing so from the inside out. Notice where that may have resonated. Notice if there was resistance. Notice if there was a sense of an unknown. What came up for you? And just be with that. It's all fine. It is what it is. Just noticing without attachment to anything, without defining it as bad or good, right or wrong. Allowing yourself to be in your own truth and for this practice to emerge from the inside out. From here, begin to deepen the breath, finding a nice even flow between the inhale and the exhale. And right away, noticing what's true for you. Would you like to breathe in both directions through the nose? Or would it feel nice to exhale through the mouth? I do invite all inhales to come in through the nose if possible, and then decide on your exhale. What's resonating with you? What do you feel in your body? Our bodies are talking to us all the time, and usually it's quite subtle. We hear the loud things. We hear those areas of pain and discomfort or injury. And there's also these underlying subtle messages the body is always sending to us. And that's what I invite you to tune into in our practice every time we come to our mats. Those subtle messages occurring. And it's only through this stillness we can hear them. Nice full breath in through the nose. And then either exhale out through the nose or through the mouth. And be willing to notice when that shifts. There may be times in the practice that you switch that. My intention today is for you to listen to your body throughout the practice. Follow that guidance. You may have come to your mat with another intention, something else that might serve you better today. Trust that. Remember, when you're ready to begin to move, you can stay where you are, stay with the breath, and just rest in the state of non-doing. That may be what's required right now of you, being asked of you. Don't fight that. If you're ready to move, I'm going to invite you to bring the knees and the feet all the way together so the inner edges of your feet are connected or touching. And then we'll start with our very gentle, slow sacral rock. And so we keep the feet firmly planted in the floor. Now, we're not necessarily pressing into the floor, but we're keeping the mounds of the big toe, pinky toe, on either side of the heel connected for now. We're just small movement across the sacrum. Okay. So one of the things that's wonderful about our request for hips is that our hips are affected by so much going on in the body. So we also want to make sure we take care of our low backs and inner and outer thighs. And so we'll do a little bit of all of that today. And as we take care of our low backs, we want to start subtle and small, checking in all along the way. See how, checking in with your body and how this feels. You can begin to make this movement a little bit bigger if you like. Maybe you notice the outer edges of the feet start to roll off the mat just a little bit. As I've mentioned in the past, we're dropping into a bit of a twist here the farther we go, and because we're just beginning our practice, we want to keep that pretty minimal until we're more warmed up. Unless you're watching this on my YouTube channel later in the day, sometime this recording, and you're really warmed up, then maybe it would be fine, or you'd feel safe dropping a little deeper right away. And then we'll go ahead and slowly bring this back to center, and then notice the breath. So did it fall away? Were you maintaining that long, even breathing? Just come back to it if it faded off. We've changed positions. We're lying, or we've not changed positions. I changed positions. But in this movement, just notice, did anything change in regards to that exhale? Now we'll go ahead and take our feet hip width apart and parallel. And then find our way into our hip hikers or sliders. So just sliding the hips up the mat. Hip hikers. Everything stays on the floor. We're not actively pressing into the feet. This movement is generated from your core and from the hips. Nothing's lifting up. Your buttocks, tailbone, or anything are not lifting up off the floor. Then we'll bring that back to center and find our way into hip pointers. Now we will press into the right foot, point the right hip bone up to the ceiling. That knee moves away from you, back down. Left hip presses up, knee away, and that comes back down. So just mindful movements here with the breath. Long, slow, even breathing. And then we'll come back to center, and then from here, move into alternating between those two. Come into some hip hikers and hip pointers. So just loosening up the sacrum, beginning to find what's going on in the low back, right? Just discovering, being curious. And then we'll bring all that to center. Notice your breath. Tune in with the body. Continue to listen to those subtle messages. Feeling the echo of the practice. And then from here, go ahead into pelvic tilts. Feet are relaxed. Movement again, coming from core and the hips, or your pelvic bowl. We're not pressing much into the feet at all. This keeps the movement a little more subtle, smaller. We'll press into the feet if and when we come into a moving bridge. This is just simple pelvic tilts. Bring that into center, find a neutral pelvis. And noticing the sensations down in the low back and sacrum area. And we'll go ahead and draw the knees into the chest. And round the low back, feel that nice gentle stretch. Only bring them in as far as it is you can to remain a gentle stretch. It's not meant to be create any discomfort. And then we'll connect with our breath here. Inhale, push the knees arm lengths away. And exhale toward you. Inhale away. And remember, the same option applies on that exhale. Is it through the nose or through the mouth? And then we'll take this into some knee circles. So the knees stay together, big or small, just circling around, and find that breath or maintain that breath. And then switch and circle the other way. And then from here, let's take the knees and open them wide and around. Okay, you feel a little bit what's going on in the inner thigh, the groin as you open wide. And maybe some of you are feeling a little bit through the outer hip as well. We're just checking in, warming up. Okay, just think of this as a slow, gentle, kind invitation of the body into the practice. And then we'll go ahead and place the feet back into your mat. Open the feet wide as your mat. Open the arms wide, palms up. And let's come into our double knee drop. A nice gentle twist, as well as an opportunity as we drop to one side to kind of notice what's going on in that outer hip and IT band, at the outer edge of the thigh. The inhale, we open wide, get into a little bit of the inner thigh, and then both knees drop to the opposite side and notice the hip and IT band on that side. We just move back and forth here. Inhale, open wide, exhale, release. It's a wonderful, gentle movement for the lower half of the body. And then notice if you'd like to involve the head, rotating it the opposite direction the knees go, just an option. When you've got equally side to side, bring the knees back to center, feet parallel, and take a moment to just feel the echo of that practice. Notice how the body's responding, notice any sensations. From here, let's extend the left leg along the floor, draw the right knee into the chest. Single knee to chest. Just hug that in for a moment. Press out through both heels and see if you can begin to anchor the back of that left thigh into your mat. And you'll find that you can get closer to doing that if you find that neutral pelvis. If we're tucking the low back, we're tucking the tailbone and flattening the low back into the floor, that lifts that back thigh. If I find that neutral pelvis, which creates a little space in the lumbar spine, now I'm getting closer to anchoring that into the floor. So find that neutral pelvis. We're going to move back and forth here. Extend the left arm out. Take a nice inhale here. Exhale as you open that knee wide to the right. Inhale back to center. Take it in your left hand. Extend the right and exhale across the body into a little bit of a twist. Really what I'm asking you to discover is, again, that IT band and outer hip. Inhale back to center. Take the knee in your right hand, extend the left, exhale wide. So back and forth. Minimal edge in each direction. We're still warming up. I want to start to create a little more heat in the body before we come into our deepest expression in any pose. And as always, continue to listen to body, whether or not it even serves you to find your deepest expression in any day. What is your body asking for today? What does it need? And the next time you come out of the twist, we'll bring the knee back to center. Notice what may have shifted in the pelvis and what may have shifted in your range of motion or the sensations. And then we'll go ahead and switch. Let's extend the right leg out along the floor. Left knee hugs into the chest. And then the same idea in the pelvis. You can tuck that low back under, feel that, and then reverse that into a neutral pelvis, small space between the lumbar spine and the floor. And see if you can get the back of that left thigh a little closer to the mat. And then we'll come into the movement on this side. Extend the right arm. Take a nice inhale here. Exhale the knee wide to the left. Inhale back to center. Take your right hand to the knee. Extend the left and exhale across the body minimally. Inhale back to center. Exhale wide. And the next time you come out of your twist, come back to that single knee to chest. Hold, feel, check in. Again, draw both knees into the chest, maybe even wrap the arms around the knees. You can do a little rolling side to side. If it feels safe to your neck, you can bring the head off the floor. Before we come any deeper into the hips, I'm going to warm the body up a little bit more. So let's go ahead and roll to hands and knees. And from here, coming into a cat-cow, just exhaling as you round the spine, inhaling open. Let's do our usual, or start to move into our usual warm-ups and into our little mini flow, starting to create that warmth in the body. Starting with the cat-cow, and then from here, just moving into some hip circles, big or small. You can do this in both directions several times. You can start to get the head and the shoulders involved. And switch directions eventually. You can take the body and move side to side with this. So again, just a little creativity, a little flow. All an effort to invite the body into the practice, to create a little heat, and to check in and have a little playfulness or a little fun, letting go of the form and structure or formality of the practice, lightening it up just a little bit. Come back to center, curl the toes under, and then do the same thing in down dog, kind of getting upside down, and then playing here. Just alternate the heels in and out of the floor, shift through the hips, moving through the spine, having some fun. Just moving in any way that serves your body, serves your practice, feeds your soul, whatever this is for you. And then eventually coming back down to hands and knees, inhaling. And let's find our way into our mini flow. So you exhale into child's pose from here, or your version of a child's pose, whatever this looks like for you. Inhaling up, hands and knees. Curl the toes under and exhale, down dog. Inhale back to hands and knees. And exhale, child's, even if it's only part way. And just find this flow, find the rhythm with your breath, inhaling to hands and knees, alternating between child's pose and down dog. Connecting with that nice, even breath. And again, choosing to exhale through the nose or through the mouth. That's up to you. What's resonating with you? You can add on, pulling forward with the heart, opening into a modified up dog. And from there, exhale, down dog. Just an option, throwing that in there. Now the next time you find your way into down dog, pause there for a moment, just bringing us together. Just take a few breaths. On your next exhale, walk your feet to your hands, coming into a standing forward fold. Just kind of hang out over the thighs. Bend the knees if you need to, or use a block if you'd like to lift the heart a little bit. We're just finding a soft and gentle stretch for you through the back of the legs, and that's going to be a different position for each of you. Some of you will have the knees more bent. Some of you will be able to straighten them a little bit more. Creating ease in the body and the breath, and just breathe here for a moment. Nice inhale through the nose, and then exhale either through the nose or the mouth. As we breathe into the belly and it compresses against the thighs, you might feel the back body kind of open and expand a bit, and then release. Just riding the wave of the breath. Then we'll bring our hands to our hips, bend the knees quite generously, press into the feet. We're going to use our quadriceps, right? One of the larger muscles of the body. Lengthen the spine, engage with your core as you slowly come up to standing. Take a moment to Connect our feet into the earth to find our equilibrium, our balance as we come up. Arms a little ways from your side, and just coming into Tadasana, right? The strength and the power and the ease of standing in mountain pose. Feet parallel, hip width apart, even a little wider if that feels more grounding or stable to you. The shoulders relaxed away from the ears, a slight engagement of the thigh muscles and your core. The back of the neck nice and long with a slight tucking of the chin. Either eyes closed or gazing straight ahead. Standing in our power, standing in our strength, in our belief in ourselves, right? Hearts open. Because we're connecting into the earth through the feet. So bring that energy in, whatever that means to you, whatever that feels like to you. For me, it means nourishment, unconditional support, unconditional fuel, right? And a sense of being grounded and supported. And just check in with what it means to you. And from this place of being grounded and stable, our feet will not move. We're going to come into our half salutations. When you're ready, inhaling, take a hold of your right wrist and exhale to the left. Inhale back up and switch sides as we exhale over. Both feet equally rooted. Inhale and exhale. Palms to your low back. Inhale, open the heart. And the hands run down the back of the thighs. As we exhale, fold forward. Hands to your shins. Press into the shins, lengthening the arms. Inhale halfway, engage the core, lengthen the spine. And exhale, release. Arms either by your side or open wide. Engage the core, lengthen the spine. Inhale, come back up to standing. Take a hold of one wrist and exhale to the opposite side. Inhale, back up. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, open the heart. And exhale, fold. Just moving the spine in all directions. Inhale halfway, use your core. And exhale, fold. Inhale, back up. One more round. Exhale to the opposite side. Inhale. Lengthen, root down. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, open. Exhale, fold. Inhale halfway. And exhale, fold. Inhale, back up. Palms together. Exhale down through center to your heart. And then something I've been playing with in my own practice, sometimes it feels really nice to have this traditional Anjali mudra with the palms at the heart. And there's times when I'm really enjoying placing the right hand and then the left hand on top and breathing here. Let's just notice what's resonating for you and breathe. Either way, connecting into our hearts and listening. Good. And release the hands. And we're going to come into an element practice of Qigong element practice. So we're going to take the feet out fairly wide. They call this a horse stance. Okay, so I'm actually wider. We want to be even wider than our shoulders. For those of you with sensitive knees, you're not going to kind of come into the squat as deeply as some of us might. Okay, so really listen to that, and you decide whether you're just going to be ever so slightly bent or a little bit more. I want to imagine, of course, you can imagine sitting on a horse. Hope that'd be great. But you can also imagine one of those Swiss exercise balls, right? That you're kind of straddling over that ball. We're planted equally between all 4 points of both feet, right? And the knees are bent. So we're asking a lot of the lower half of the body here. I'm deliberately asking you to kind of drop into the earth and feel the strength that requires in the legs. Okay, so finding that horse stance. And then we have a engagement of the core and a slight tucking of the tailbone. So we really lengthen and release that low back. All right. And then we bring the arms up just about shoulder height, and imagine you're holding another exercise ball here. Okay, the shoulders are down away from the ears, but we're holding this ball kind of in between the belly and the heart. All right, so this is our stance right here. We're just taking a moment to breathe, and I want you to feel the breath. Breathe into the belly, allow the belly to expand, and then on the exhale, contract. Okay, because we're going to use this breath with the element movement. Belly expands on inhale, contracts on exhale. A few more breaths here, creating some heat in the lower half of the body. Well, we're probably feeling this in the shoulders and the upper half of the body too. Okay, and we're going to create some movement here with this. We're going to go ahead and inhale. We're going to take this imaginary ball. Inhale as we bend the knees, come all the way back, up and around, and exhale, draw the belly in. We're going to cross the arms in front. Inhale all the way up, straighten the legs, belly expands, and then contract. Come back into that stance. Arms float up, inhale. Belly expands to shoulder height, and exhale. Belly contracts. Inhale, make a fist, draw them into your side. Belly expands. Exhale, press away from you as you draw the belly in, and press here and hold. Palms pressing away. Inhale and exhale. Stay where you are. I'm going to stand sideways to you so you can just observe this from the side on this round. Okay. Come back to holding that ball. Inhale, belly expands. Exhale, contract. Arms cross. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, make that fist. Pull them in. And press away, belly contracts. And hold. Let's do that one more time. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Come back to just a nice gentle breath. Feel the practice. Noticing in the sensations. And we're going to come back up to standing or straightening the legs and bring the feet all the way together. And place the palms on your belly, left hand on top of right. Okay, so in most martial arts and Qigong, this is called the lower Dantian, and it's a major energy center. And we're just kind of gathering all that great energy to keep it within us. Right? So we work with the 4 elements of water, air, fire, and earth. All right, so if you're not at the front of your mats, go ahead and find your way back to the front of the mat and have your blocks on either side of your feet. So they're just in the ready. Okay, so let's come into now our hips a little bit more. When you're ready, on an inhale, reach the arms overhead. Exhale down through center, fold forward. And let's step the right foot back and come back with or bring the right knee to the floor. Okay. If you've got some knee stuff where it really doesn't feel good to be on the knee at all, you can modify this into a high lunge, just keeping the hands on their blocks and rock back and forth if need be. But if you can, place that right knee down. Okay. Then from here, we'll go ahead and come into our Lunge Rock. So as we bend into that front knee, make sure it stays over the ankle. If your stance is too narrow, you're going to be way out here in front of the toes, and that can be risky on the knee. So we want to make sure that we have a wide enough stance that as we softly release into this right hip flexor, that knee aligns over the ankle. Okay, this is an inhale, heart open, shoulders down, gaze is straight ahead, core is engaged. And then the exhale draws you back as we begin to straighten that front leg. And maybe the toes come off the floor, just rocking back. Inhale forward. Exhale, rock back. Into that left hamstring. Now there's ways we're working with not only the physical body here, it's we feel this in the hip flexor and the hamstring or anywhere else you might feel this in the physical body. We're also working with the energy body. Okay, these are the more subtle aspects of our being. They're hard to notice, but just check in with this. As we inhale, our hearts open. There's an expansiveness to this. Right? We're opening outward. And then as we draw back, there's a sense of going in. Right? Containing our energy or just going inside. So see if you can just tune into that a little bit. There's times in our lives when hibernating, going in, taking that time to ourselves is critical. And then there's times when we can move out into the world and give back. And both are important. And the next time you come forward, we're going to go ahead and pause here for a moment. Minimally drop into that right hip flexor. So I'm not asking for a really deep stretch here. We don't have to just sink into this. We're going to modify this a little bit and play into our IT bend in the outer hip. Right? So I'm going to move that block away from my left foot and place my left outer palm, or my palm on that left outer knee. And I'm going to do that resistance stretch 4 rounds, press the knee into the hand, and then press back, resisting in both directions. You can really feel the fascia and ligaments and muscles and everything in this outer left hip and outer thigh start to activate, get warm. Okay. And then after 4 rounds, we're going to come in and hold with just a slight resistance. My knees pressing into my hands slightly, the hands resisting that, pressing back a bit. Just holding in this stretch. A little bit of a stretch and more of a strength. Okay, so strength is just as important as the stretch. And then we'll bring that back to center. Remove both blocks. Hands on either side of that left foot. Press back into down dog. And just walk that out a little bit. Notice anything you're noticing that's different between the right and left sides. Then we're going to walk both feet back to the hands. Back into a standing forward fold. Okay, bring both the blocks back, either side of your feet. Hang out for a moment. Okay. And then we're going to switch sides. Step your left foot all the way back. You decide whether that left knee can come into the floor or not. Okay. Check in with the alignment, always finding the foundation first. So noticing that right knee can stay over the ankle, so even as you rock back and forth, we've taken a wide enough stance to avoid that knee coming way out in front of the toes. Okay. And then when you're ready, the core is slightly engaged, heart lifted and open, shoulders down away from the ears, gaze straight ahead. Nice inhale here. Exhale, draw back. Maybe those right toes come up off the floor. Find out what's going on in that right hamstring. Inhale forward, left hip flexor. Exhale back, right hamstring. And anywhere else you might be noticing this. So we can tune into the physical body, and we can tune into that energy body and the subtleties that are occurring in this practice. They're there whether we are aware of them or not. Bringing awareness to them can really change how this practice fuels us or how it serves us. When we start to notice those things, opportunity for growth, understanding ourselves better. The next time you come forward, find a minimal edge in that left hip flexor. Again, we're not dropping into a deep stretch. We're going to focus more on the outer right hip. So move that block, palm to the outer edge of the right knee. Okay. Keep your core engaged. 4 rounds, press that right knee into the palm of the right hand. Come back to center. Okay, and resisting in both directions. Knee presses into the hand is pressing into the knee. We're making that outer right thigh work. Really creating some nice heat there. Notice your breath. After 4 rounds, we're going to come in and just hold slightly. Okay? I have a slight resistance in both directions. My hands resisting my knee pressing into it. And breathing. And come back to center. Go ahead and move the blocks off to the side. Press back into down dog. And just walk that out. Notice what you're feeling between the right and left sides of the body. And then again, on your exhale, walk your feet up to your hands. We'll keep the blocks off the mat for now. Just hanging out here. Maybe even grabbing the opposite elbow and hang out, literally. You can either extend the arms by your side or open them out wide. Bend the knees slightly, engage the core, lengthen the spine. Inhale, come up. And exhale, palms to your heart. And you decide, either Anjali Mudra or palms on top of one another. What's resonating with you today? We don't always have to understand why. Let's inhale, reach up. Palms down through center, exhale, fold forward. Right foot steps back. We're going to come into a high lunge. So find your stance. How wide do you want your stance? So here's our foundation. How far apart are the feet? Front to back. Okay. We want them hip width apart, side to side. Okay. We're going to stay on the ball of that right foot. We're not planting the heel. Okay. And when we feel stable, we engage our core, and that helps us to lift up with stability. Okay. So taking our time and really coming into our foundation kind of avoids that sense of falling down as we come up. Okay, so back leg strong, hug into that thigh bone. We're bending into this front knee as little or as much as you wish, but not past the 90-degree bend. Okay, right hand to the outer edge of that left knee, left hand to your sacrum, and rotate open to the left. Shoulders stay down, heart open. Into a twist. Okay, strong pose. Definitely strong pose. I'm bringing this into the practice with the hip request. I don't know about you guys, but I definitely can feel this. Do that outer left hip and IT bend. And then if you'd like, you can shift your gaze out that back shoulder. If that affects your balance or stability too much negatively, then shift your gaze straight ahead again. Long, deep, even breathing. Your breath is a great indicator if the choices you're making are in alignment for what's for your best good, or your highest good. If you're unable to maintain that breath, you may want to back off a bit. Your exhale, you're going to unwind. Both hands on either side of that left foot. Press back into down dog and walk that out again. Nice strong pose there. Walk both feet up to your hands. Arms either by your side or out wide. Lengthen the spine, engage the core. Inhale, come up. And into your heart exhale. And again, inhale. And exhale down through center, fold forward. This time we'll step our left foot back. Take your time in your foundation. Feet are hip width apart, but how far apart are they front to back? What helps you feel most grounded and stable? Engage with your core, and when you're ready, come on up, slow and steady. Now you're going to decide how deeply you bend into that front knee. Spine is tall, core engaged, shoulders relaxed away from the ears, gaze straight ahead. And we'll bring the left hand to the outer edge of that right knee. Right hand behind you, spine stays tall as we rotate open to the right. Okay, we have that knee slightly pressing into the hand pressing into the knee. We're still activating that outer right hip and IT bend. Shoulders down and heart open. And then if you choose, gaze out the back right shoulder. Breath is steady. Back leg is strong. On your next exhale, unwind. Step back into down dog. Walk that out. And then we're going to go ahead and come to the knees. And then release into your resting position, whether that's a child's pose or prone on your belly. Just kind of settling into the floor in a position position where you can really let go and feel safe. That is for you. You can keep the arms extended out in front of you. You might want to bring the palms together, bend the elbows, taking the thumbs to the back body. And breathe into the belly and feel the back body expand. Alright, so let's come on up. We're going to have our two fascia balls, and we're going to use most likely a block for our heads. So let's come into some fascia work with our hips. I find that the block to rest our head on is really handy so that we can bring our neck into a more neutral position as we lie back or on our side. So I'm starting on my right side. If you want to be on the same side, it just makes it easier maybe to understand instructions, but most of you are pretty familiar with this one. And so we're going to take one fascia ball right underneath the hip. And another one's going to be somewhere along that outer right thigh, along the IT band, anywhere in there is fine. Remember, with fascia work, we can place these balls anywhere you'd like to that is comfortable, that allows you to truly melt over the balls. So if there's resistance and pain, it's harder to get the results. The fascia is going to resist. Okay, so we're not looking for total discomfort and pain at all. Right? So then that right leg can be bent, feel that. It can be extended, feel that. Whether it's slightly in front of you or slightly behind you, all of these are ways that you can adjust. You can stack the legs on top. That adds a lot more intensity. It's too intense for me. I like to keep that left knee bent with the foot in the floor behind the right leg. But anything goes. Just find what allows you to melt. And you want to stay present to this experience. So I just invite you to drop into your breath. Nice, smooth, even breathing. And notice what the body is feeling and experiencing. So being present to the sensations of the body. And we're going to stay here about 5 minutes. If the areas become uncomfortable, then shift the fascia balls. Move those balls in a different position. We're not meant to push through this or struggle through this. Keep inviting the body with each exhale to really let go and just relax. The fascia is becoming really a fascinating area of study for scientists. It covers us like a sheath from head to toe. It's not like a ligament or a tendon that's connecting to a joint, or there's a start and stop point. It's just one like suit that we have, like our skin. And so even though we're deliberately resting the fascia balls on our hip and IT band, it can also positively create the change in another complete different area of the body. So since it is all connected. Keep breathing if the mind wanders. Got a couple more minutes. One more minute here. Go ahead and slowly remove the fascia walls from underneath us and move the block out of the way. Bring your head to the floor, roll onto your back. And just take a moment here before we jump right into the other side. Just feel. Feel these sensations. Notice what's coming up. Notice if one side feels warmer or cooler or activated or whatever, however you might describe it. Then we'll go ahead and we'll switch sides. You can simply roll over. I'm just going to switch so I'm facing the camera. Now, also realize this side could be completely different, okay, depending on what you have going on. You might place the ball slightly different, or the legs might be placed slightly different. Really listen to that. Trust your body and what it's telling you. And when you found that just right position, go ahead and come into your breath. Just following the breath in and out, or observing the body breathing. Mind wanders, come back into the breath, sensations of the body, again and again, just staying present. Staying in the moment. One more minute here. Go ahead and slowly remove the props, including the block. Okay, so we find our way onto our backs, neutral position, and just feel. So we're going to take both blocks, okay, and let's switch sides again because my props are over here, and a blanket underneath your head. The blanket's going to be for your head, and we're going to take both blocks, and we're going to come into a kind of a restorative or reclined bound angle pose. Okay, so if you are using a blanket on your head, you don't have to. If you are, try not to have it too high where the head's lifted and the chin forced into the chest, okay? So your neck is fairly neutral and it's open between the chin and the chest. We're going to take our blocks at level 2, right? You've got 3 levels. Tallest is 3, this is 2. I call this one 1 when it's flat. Level 2 at an angle, okay? And we're going to allow our thighs to rest. Now, the farther the blocks are away from you, so they're closer to your knees, it's going to create a deeper opening. Okay, and that's up to you. If that feels good, you know, when we're in a restorative or restful position, we're not looking for a major stretch here. So if I was to remove the blocks and drop into this, I can do it, and it's a stretch, and it's a little bit more active, and I'm looking for something more restorative, so I want to rest my thighs or my knees on the blocks. So the closer I bring them in, the more that lifts the knees and the more ease that creates. Okay, so we'll leave that up to you. And I've just kind of tilted them at an angle, they stay put, and then place your palms on your belly. From here, I'm going to invite you into belly breathing, so very deliberately expanding the belly on inhale and contracting on exhale. So rather than the belly just simply falling back, I'm actually slightly engaging, hugging that in towards the spine. Inhale through the nose, belly expands. And then either exhale through the nose or the mouth, gently contracting. Pelvis is neutral, so just like we worked on earlier in the practice, we're not dropping the low back into the floor, nor are we in a deep anterior tip or back bend. Okay, so there's just a gentle space between your low back and your mat. Breathe in and breathe out. Just like we did, lying on our sides with the fascia balls, the breath helps us stay in the moment, observing the body breathing. Just invite yourself back moment by moment, breath by breath, each time you wander off. We'll stay here about another 2 minutes. Let's go 1 more minute here. Go ahead and slowly draw the knees together. And move the blocks out of the way. Pause, feel. And let's go ahead and draw the knees into the chest. Hugging in with the low back. And a gentle stretch there, and then find your way into Apanasana. If you'd like, you can simply pull the knees towards the chest. That might feel good. Or come into the movement, inhaling the arms, arm lengths away, and exhale towards you. Leave that up to you, movement or stillness. Slowly take the knees and circle them if you'd like to. Circling the other way. Bringing the feet back into your mat. A few hip hikers. Noticing if anything has shifted from when we began the practice. Whatever that may be. Noticing without any judgment. Hip pointers, pointing one hip and then the other. And then taking a moment to alternate between those two movements. And then I am going to invite you from here to find your version of Shavasana using whatever props you would like to as you extend the legs out along the floor. So maybe that's something underneath your knees, which is really nice for the low back. Maybe it's something underneath your head. Maybe you'd like to put a blanket on you to stay warm, whatever that may be. Once you've extended those legs, finding your support system, your props, let the feet splay open. If it's comfortable for you, I invite you to bring the arms out a little ways from your side, palms up, which naturally draws the shoulders back, and then it also opens our hearts to receive. So receiving, taking this moment to receive the gifts of this practice. Even if you're not sure what they were, or can't define it, simply drop in and accept it. Just feel and receive it. We allow the breath to fall away, any shaping of the breath. Completely let go, surrender, and relax. Allowing ourselves a deep state of non-doing. Bring your awareness to the crown of your head. Relax any tension throughout the scalp and the crown of the head. Bring your attention to your facial muscles. Relaxing and letting go of any tension in the facial muscles. Your neck. Noticing any tension in the neck and invite it to completely relax. Both shoulders. Letting go of both shoulders, completely relax. They almost become heavy as they drop back into the earth. Your chest completely relaxed. Rib cage, solar plexus, all tension melts away. Belly, soft and relaxed. The entire front body relaxed. Upper back, any tension melts away. Mid back, letting go. Low back, all tension releases from the low back. Entire back body relaxed. Whole torso. Entire length of both arms, including the palms and fingertips, completely relaxed. Both hips soften and surrender. Entire pelvis relaxed. Upper thighs, right and left, both front and back. There's no tension, soft and relaxed. Both knees, right and left, front and back of both knees, completely soft and relaxed. Both shins and calves, lower half of the leg, completely softens, surrenders. Both ankles, totally relaxed. Both feet and all 10 toes, soft and at ease. Entire body at ease from head to toe. No stress, no tension. Everything at ease and at rest. Take a few deep breaths. Begin some gentle movement just through the maybe fingers and toes to start with. Maybe you move into stretching overhead or reaching. And then slowly roll to one side. And take a few breaths there. Just pause there for a moment. And I'm going to share with the same reading with you one more time. Just taking a moment to reflect and see if anything may have shifted for you. Yoga is not about the pose. It's not the alignment of toes, hips, or shoulders. It's not about the form. Yoga is an invitation to explore, not a command of performance. It speaks the language of the soul. In the flow of breath and motion, yoga coaxes us from the confines of the known across the silent threshold into vastness. Yoga is the union of prayer and movement guided from inside. It's healing and the joy of saying yes to life. Breathe, relax, and feel the body receive its own truth. The seed of freedom flowers within each of us whenever we are open to what's real. And slowly come up, very mindfully move your way to a seated position, bringing your palms together at your hearts. Take a moment, this moment, to honor the choice you made to be here for you. In gratitude for all those who share this practice with you each week. And as always, I thank you for allowing me to take the seat of teacher. Namaste.